Mr. Clapton, Eric. He's financially he's okay. He's mastered his craft. I don't know, it's a craft. It's probably like a just fun thing to do. Play the guitar. He's basically doing what he loves. But nobody wants to be I mean, you want your health. You know, nobody wants to be hoodwinked into taking hoodwinked into doing something unhealthy. It's called informed consent. So doctors, legally, you're supposed to be given informed consent. In other words, before you undergo any kind of medical procedure, drug, whatever it is, you're supposed to be told the risks, notified of the risk. It's like a doctor-patient thing, where if I'm your doctor, and first of all, you're not sick, number one, you're not sick. So I'm treating a patient that's not sick, number one. So I'm like, look, patient, I know you're not sick, but there's this really scary thing out there. In order to protect you from that scary thing, I want, there's this solution that Trump got behind, which is called Operation Warp Speed, where we inject troops and harm our troops, or Israel's troops, really, because most of our troops fight for Israel or for globalists. They don't really fight for freedom. But the troops don't want to be harmed, but we're harming our troops, or Israel's troops, which are U.S. troops. Are they not U.S. troops when, Israel can bomb the USS Liberty without consequence and say, my bad? They didn't even, there wasn't even there was no apology. It was just like, whoops, my bad. Yeah, you had the flag flying high. It was one man's job to keep that flag up, and he did it. So there was no chance of a mistaken identity, which is what they claim, basically. Whoops, we thought you were somebody else. No, that's a lie. Anyways, back to our troops and Eric Clapton and informed consent. Yeah. So I don't think Eric Clapton was given informed consent. I don't think anybody's being given informed consent. You know what? Informed consent, in other words, where you're notified of the risks, it really can't be given because you're part of the experiment. So we're going to find out. Actually, they already know what their injection does. You're not part of an experiment. You're part of something that they know what it does. So the whole thing that, oh, it's experimental. Well, it's not experimental. They know what it does. So you actually can be given informed consent. But, Eric wasn't given informed consent, and neither was DMX, who's now dead. He's dead. But he wanted to travel, and in order to travel, you gotta take this thing that might kill you. So maybe you can travel, you can't travel when you're dead. So unless you want to go on a tour like George Floyd, where he had like 5 funerals. Yeah, you can't travel when you're dead. Maybe in the astral realm. Yeah, so it's your responsibility actually to, if there's reckless doctors, nurses, authorities, if everybody else in the room is reckless and ignorant, it's your responsibility to protect yourself and your children at all times, like in a boxing match. You're told to protect yourself defend yourself at all times. In other words, you put up your guard. But in the case of this injection, you just let your guard down. Why don't you let your guard down, okay? And let them punch you right in the face. Hey, you know. Yeah, Mr. Clapton. And what happened with Justin Bieber? Is he okay? What happened with his wife? Or is he married? His girlfriend? These are people need to really try to stay safe in these times. You know. Yeah. I'm also hearing if you do survive, there's a lot of reproductive issues that might be targeting reproductive areas. Sexual, that would be sexual, your private parts, eggs, sperm, reproduction. How you make babies, how you make babies. So, yeah, well, you just got to try to stay safe and think for yourself. Don't let others do your thinking for you. Don't undergo any medical procedures that you don't know anything about. You need to be given informed consent, meaning the risk, reward, before you consent to something, a medical procedure. You're being forced to undergo a medical procedure even though you're not sick, but it's for the greater good, to save grandma. Asymptomatic. Well, you weren't sick, but now you got a blood clot. Now you got Bell's palsy. Now you're dead. My bad. Well, don't worry. I got no liability, so I guess fuck it. Fuck you. What are you gonna do? Nothing. Untouchable. Basically, they're laughing at you. They're making a fortune while they basically kill you, destroy your health, and they're making money while they do it. Hey, thanks, Trump. You're our guy. Hey, the Spanish flu. You're our guy, Trump. Thank you. It's not your fault. It's always somebody else's fault. It's Fauci's fault. It's anybody else. You can't. It's not your fault. You're too dumb. Trump's too dumb to know any better. So you can't blame Trump. You just got to blame somebody else. He had to go along. He had to close your business that will never come back. He had to do all those things. So vote Trump 2020. Yeah.